Hello everyone and good morning. Welcome to this gentle mindful movement session. Today we're going to be focusing on twists. So we're going to be mobilizing the upper body, mobilizing the spine, helping combat any sort of bad posture, rounded, hunched shoulders that we get from sitting at a desk or sitting on our phones, and just really helping to massage all of those internal organs, get the circulation going, and give you a nice boost of energy for the rest of your day. So we're going to go ahead and get started in a comfortable seated posture. You can have the knees crossed. You can come into a half lotus. You can have your sit bones lifted by a block, by a rolled up blanket or a pillow. If your knees come up quite high, this can be quite good to just help lengthen the spine. Bringing the hands onto the knees with the palms facing down, lengthening through the spine, through the crown of the head, and closing down the eyes. And just coming into the body, turning our attention away from anything in the outside world that's grabbing our attention with the senses. So anything you can hear, anything you can smell, the temperature of the room if there's a draft. Just turning our attention away from all of these things, inwards towards the sensations of the body, the sensations of the breath, and the things that might come up in the mind. And we're just noticing what might arise, those scattered thoughts. And just allowing them to pass through your mind like a cloud in the sky. Not judging, not trying to change, not viewing them as good or bad. Just noticing that they're there and letting them pass. And then turning your attention to the breath, where it settles, the sensations in the torso. Noticing whether your stomach moves before your chest when you inhale, or if your chest moves before your stomach. And if it's the chest that moves first, shifting that awareness to the belly button. And on your inhale, really trying to push the belly button out with that air. Moving that focus from the upper chest, from this place of anxiety, all the way down to your stomach, your diaphragm, and this gentle, slower breathing. Taking some nice gentle rounds of breath here, just noticing where you feel the sensations of the inhales, the sensations of the exhales. And then taking one final deep inhale through the nose and exhale through the nose. Slowly blinking open the eyes or keeping them closed. Inhale to reach the right arm up overhead, all the way over to the left, stretching through that right side body. On your exhale, bend the elbow, pointing it up towards the sky, twisting open. Exhale, lengthen the arm, gazing back down at the hand. Inhale, opening the chest, gazing up. Exhale, bending back over towards the left. Inhale, reach all the way up with that right hand. Reaching up with the left, bending over towards the right hand side this time. You can come down onto your forearm if you need a little bit more space, or you can stay up on that hand. Inhale to draw that elbow back, pulling the chest open towards the sky. Exhale, straighten through the left arm, reaching over to the right. Inhale, bending the elbow, gazing up. Exhale, reaching with that left arm one more time. Inhale to come all the way back up to a seat, bringing the right hand onto the left knee, twisting over that left shoulder. Finding more length with each inhale and more depth in the twist with each exhale. Inhale to come back to center, bringing the left hand onto the right knee, extending through the spine as you inhale, exhaling to twist over that right shoulder. Inhaling to come all the way back to center, and then turning to face the short edge of the mat, coming into our tabletop position on all fours. Your shoulders are stacked over your wrists, your hips over your knees, and then we're going to introduce some rounds of cat-cow. So inhaling to drop the stomach, gaze up, and exhaling to round through the spine and gaze down. Moving between these two poses at the pace of your own breath. Inhaling to drop the stomach, exhaling to round. Feeling into the spine, into any places that need a bit more movement this morning. And then coming back to a neutral spine, inhale to lift that right arm all the way up towards the sky, gazing up at the fingertips. And then exhale to sweep it all the way under, coming into our thread the needle, bringing the right hand side of the face all the way down to the mat. You can extend the left arm up overhead, lift the fingers all the way up to the ceiling, or you can come into this half bind where you can wrap the arm around that right thigh. Breathing here as you open up through that right shoulder. On your next inhale, release that left arm back to the mat. Inhale to lift the right arm all the way back up to the sky, gazing up at those fingers, and then bring it back down to meet the left hand on the mat. Taking the same on the other side, so inhaling to lift the left hand all the way up, gazing at the fingers, and then sweep it all the way down as you exhale, coming into thread the needle, taking that same arm variation as you did on the last side. Maybe finding that half bind or keeping it down to the floor. On your next inhale, release that right hand all the way back down to the mat. Push yourself all the way up as you gaze up at that left finger. And then release both hands all the way down to the mat. On your next exhale, tuck your toes and send your hips all the way up to the sky, coming into our first down dog. Really keeping a nice deep bend in the knees here to lengthen through the spine, thinking about sending your hips up and pushing your shoulders towards your thighs rather than trying to get your heels to the floor and straightening through the legs. So really finding comfort in your down dog here, bending deeply into one knee and then the other, pedaling out the legs, feeling into the hamstrings, or just finding stillness and a steady breath. And then on your next inhale, slowly start to walk the feet all the way up to the top of the mat, keeping a bend in the knees, coming up onto the fingertips to create a little bit more space, and then taking the feet a little bit wider, hip distance apart, grabbing onto opposite elbows, let the upper body hang heavy, drop the head in between the arms, maybe introducing some gentle rocking back and forth. moving at the pace of your own breath. And then inhaling to lift the head, bring the hands to the shins. Bring a nice deep bend into that left knee, and we're going to come into a twist, so you can bring your left hand onto the floor, onto a block, or onto your shin. And then inhale to lift that right arm all the way up to the sky, twisting open. On your exhale, maybe bringing that right hand behind the back to grab onto that left thigh, purling the right shoulder all the way up to the sky. Settling into the breath here. If your hand was in that bind, release it all the way back up on an inhale, and then exhale, draw it all the way down, straightening that left leg, swapping hands on the blocks if you have them, on the floor, on the shin, wherever it was. Bending into that right knee, inhaling to lift the left arm all the way up to the sky, maybe finding that half bind if you did on the other side, purling the left shoulder all the way up, and settling into your breath here. On your next inhale, release that left hand all the way back up. Exhale to bring it all the way back down. This time grabbing onto both blocks if you need them, just to bring the ground a little bit closer, or bending into the knees, releasing the torso down, finding your forward fold. Remove the blocks if you have them. Bring the big toes as close as you can, maybe a little bit further apart than to touch. And then we're going to sink our hips down as you exhale into chair pose. Release the arms up overhead, keeping the pelvis nice and tucked, squeezing those inner thighs together. And then exhale to bring your hands to touch at heart center, drawing the elbow all the way across. So the left elbow is hooked over the right knee. Inhale to lengthen through the chest, maybe gazing up at that top shoulder or keeping the gaze down at the floor for a little bit more stability. Keeping the legs nice and strong, maybe extending the arms so the left hand comes down to touch the floor, the right hand is extended up towards the ceiling. Exhaling to bring the hands back into prayer, and then grounding down through that right foot, we're going to step back into our high lunge. So coming onto the tiptoes of the left foot, and then exhaling to send it all the way to the back of the mat. Gazing back towards that right shoulder. And then on your next inhale, lift your torso all the way up, keeping the twist, extending the arms out into a T. Coming into this revolved lunge, gazing back at that right hand, keeping a nice deep bend in the front knee. Exhale to draw that right hand all the way down towards the back of the left knee, reaching overhead with inhale to come all the way back to face the front, drawing that left hand all the way down to the inside of the right knee, extending the right arm all the way up overhead, gazing up at the fingers into our twisted lunge. And then drop that right hand to the outside of the right knee, turning that left foot to face the short edge of the mat. Extend the left arm all the way up overhead, coming into our extended side angle, really opening up through the left-hand side of the chest. Maybe using a block here if your hand doesn't quite reach the floor. And then inhale, lift the torso up, reverse your warrior, keeping a nice deep bend in the front knee, drawing the left hand down the back of the left leg. Exhaling to release both hands all the way down to the mat, framing that foot, stepping back to our plank. Removing any props. Exhale to lower your knees, your chest, and your chin. Inhale to pull through to your cobra. Pulling across the collarbones. Exhale to send the hips all the way up to the sky, coming into your down dog. Feeling into the difference between your legs. One side might feel more open than the other now. Maybe pedaling out the legs or just finding stillness. And then inhale to walk slowly to the top of the mat. Coming all the way up to standing, nice and slowly. Inhaling to move up vertebra by vertebra, all the way up to your standing position. From here, inhale to reach the arms up and sink the hips all the way down into your chair pose, squeezing the inner thighs together, reaching the arms all the way up, lengthening through the torso, and then drawing that right elbow all the way over to the left knee, gazing up at that left shoulder, pulling it up towards the sky, and then maybe extending both arms, bringing the right hand down to the floor, the left hand all the way up. Broadening through the twist, keeping the breath nice and steady. Exhale to bring the hands back to prayer, and then grounding down through that left foot, coming up onto the right tiptoes. Exhale to send the right leg all the way back, bending into that front knee, coming into our twisted lunge. Gazing up at that top left shoulder, keeping the breath nice and steady to maintain the balance. And then inhale to lift up the torso, extending the arms out to a T, gazing back at those back left fingertips, keeping the breath nice and steady, the legs nice and strong. Exhale to draw the left hand towards that right leg, reaching overhead with the right arm, breathing into that side body. Exhale to drop that right hand all the way down to the inside of the left foot, reaching the left arm all the way up towards the sky. Lifting the chest, gazing up. Exhale to draw the left hand back down on the outside of the left foot, turning the right foot to face the short edge of the mat. Inhale to reach that right arm up towards the sky, coming into our extended side angle, pulling up through the chest. Breathing into that space. Inhale to lift yourself all the way up into a reversed warrior, keeping a nice deep bend in the front knee, reaching the back arm towards the back leg. Left arm comes all the way up overhead. Exhale to draw the left hand all the way back down, framing the front foot this time, stepping all the way back to your down dog. Exhaling to lift the hips, pedaling out the legs. Noticing how different the right side feels compared to the left. Taking the feet as wide as the mat will go, we're going to come into a twist. So bringing the left hand into the middle of the mat, reaching for the outer edge of the left ankle or the left calf with the right hand. Exhaling to twist under the right arm, gazing up towards the right armpit. Breathing into the twist here, really grounding down through the feet. Inhale to come back to center, bring the right hand onto the mat, reaching for the outside of the right ankle with the left hand, twisting through, gazing up at that right armpit. Exhale to release, bringing both hands back into your down dog. Taking a nice deep breath here, and then inhaling to bring that right leg all the way forward to the outside of the right hand, sinking the left knee all the way down, untucking the toes, coming into our lizard lunge, lengthening through the spine, gazing forward, keeping the chest nice and lifted. On your next inhale, ground down through that left hand and lift the right arm all the way up towards the sky. reaching through the fingertips, opening up through the chest, and then send that hand all the way to the back of the room, pointing the fingers towards the toes, gazing at the hand, maybe coming onto the outer edge of that right foot just to give yourself a little bit more space, sinking the left hip down to the mat, coming back to the breath. If you have stability here, you might be able to bend that back knee, bringing the foot to meet the right hand and pulling the foot in towards the glutes as much as you can. Opening up through the chest at the same time, pulling it open to the sky as you inhale. Exhale to release the foot all the way down if you had it, and then lift the right arm all the way back, turn to face the front, framing that right foot, bringing it into the middle of the mat. Exhale to tuck the back toes, step the back foot forward slightly, lifting the hips, coming into our pyramid pose, straightening through that front leg, using blocks if you need to bring the ground a little bit closer to the hands, bringing a bend into that front knee if you need to, and then exhaling to release the torso over that front thigh. Inhale to lift through the spine, lifting up that right hand, grounding down through the left, coming into a twist in our pyramid. If the back heel comes off of the mat slightly, that's absolutely fine. Opening up through the chest. Exhale to gaze back down at the floor. Keeping the right arm up to the sky, bring the block or the left hand in front of the right foot. We're going to lift up into a revolved half moon, so grounding down through that right foot, lifting the left foot up towards the sky, maybe bringing your gaze up towards that top arm, maybe keeping the gaze down at the ground depending on your balance. But really thinking about opening that right shoulder up towards the sky. Exhale to bring both hands down to the mat, slowly lowering the left foot with control back into our forward fold. Hands can come to the mat or to the blocks. And then slowly exhale to step all the way back to your down dog. Taking a few breaths here, and then inhaling to step that left foot all the way forward into our lizard pose. Sinking the right knee all the way down, lifting up through the chest. Lengthening through the spine. Coming back to the breath here. Inhale to ground down through the right hand, lifting the left arm all the way up to the sky, gazing up at the fingers. And then exhale, shifting it all the way back to point towards those right toes, coming onto the outer edge of the left foot, opening up through the left hip. Sinking that right hip all the way down as much as you can. And then maybe bringing that right foot up to meet the left hand, pulling the foot towards the glutes, opening up through the chest as you do. Coming back to a nice steady breath here. Exhale to release that right foot, bring the left arm all the way back around to the front, untucking those back toes, and then lifting the hips up, stepping forward into our pyramid pose. Again, using blocks if you need to bring the ground a little bit closer to you. Exhaling to fold over that front thigh, making sure to pull the left hip back as you send the right hip forward, keeping them nice and squared. Inhale to lift the torso, grounding down through that right hand on the block or the floor, lifting the left arm all the way up towards the sky, coming into this twist. And then bringing the block or your hand in front of the left foot, Grounding down through the left foot, bringing a bend into the knee, keeping that left arm up towards the sky as you lift the right toes, coming into a revolved half moon. Lifting that chest up, fixing your gaze into one spot to keep the balance. And then exhale to slowly release the hands, slowly release the right foot all the way down to the front of the mat into our forward fold. Taking the feet a little bit wider than hips distance, sinking the hips down all the way into our malasana or yogi squat. You can have your hands on blocks or on the floor for stability, or you can bring them up into the chest using the elbows to push the knees away from you. Exhale to draw the right hand in front of the right foot, and then inhale to expand the chest open, reaching the left arm up towards the sky. You might be able to play about with a bind here. So if your right shoulder is hooked over that right knee, you can reach back to grab the top of the right thigh and then use the left arm to reach all the way back, maybe interlacing the fingers and finding the bind, pulling that left chest open towards the sky, gazing all the way up. If you're not in the bind, just keeping the hands up, opening up through the chest. Exhale to release the left hand in front of the left foot. Inhale to reach the right arm all the way up overhead, gazing up at those fingers, opening up the chest. And then maybe coming into the bind on this side as well, reaching back with the left arm and then the right to interlace the fingers behind that left thigh. Exhale to release the arms if you're in the bind, bringing the hands all the way back to the mat. And then exhale, slowly, slowly sink the hips all the way down, coming to a seat. Lifting the legs up into our Navasana or boat pose. Shins are parallel with the mat, arms are next to the shins with the palms facing up. Squeezing the knees into the chest or maybe lengthening through the legs, pointing the toes up towards the sky. Exhaling to lower the knees all the way back down. And then draw your right hand over to the left hand side of your legs, twisting towards the left, bringing the left arm all the way back. Keeping the legs parallel with the mat. Inhale to come back to center, grabbing the right hand side with your left arm. And then reaching the right arm all the way back, twisting as we balance on our sit bones. Exhale, turning to face the front, coming all the way back, planting the feet on the mat and letting the knees fall all the way out to the sides, coming into our bound angle. You can bring the hands underneath the toes, introduce some movement, letting the knees knock up and down. Coming back to stillness, bringing the hands behind you, shuffling all the way back, extending the right leg all the way out in front of you, bringing the left knee in towards the chest, planting the foot. We're going to come into a seated twist. So wrapping the right arm all the way around that left knee, bringing the left hand behind you, twisting over that left shoulder. Inhaling to lengthen the spine, exhaling to twist. Inhale to turn all the way back to face the front. Taking both hands all the way to the right hand side this time, using your left hand to grab the outer edge of the right leg. The right hand comes behind you, gazing over that right shoulder this time. Inhale to come back to center. Let the left knee fall completely out to the side so the inside of the foot comes to the inside of the right thigh. Inhale to lengthen the spine. Exhale to walk the hands all the way down the shin, maybe finding the ankle, maybe finding the foot, or just staying on the mat, folding over that right leg. Inhaling to lengthen through the spine, exhaling to find even more depth. On your next inhale, walking the hands all the way back towards the hips, extending both legs out towards the mat, and then bringing the right knee in, planting the foot, wrapping that left arm all the way around the knee, inhaling to lengthen the spine and exhaling to twist back over that right shoulder. On your next inhale, turning back to face the front of the mat, and then exhale to twist all the way over to the left-hand side, using the right hand on the outside of the left leg to help push yourself over, gazing over that left shoulder. Just coming to a slight counter twist. And then inhaling again to come back to face the front, dropping that right knee out towards the side, letting the foot come to the inside of the left thigh. Inhaling to lengthen and then exhaling, folding over that left leg. You can keep a bend in the knee if you have a little bit of tension in that hamstring, but really think about bringing your chest towards your toes, your belly button towards your thighs, rather than just bringing your head towards your shin. Inhale to come all the way back up to a seat, and then release both legs down the mat, coming all the way down onto our backs, releasing the spine, releasing the head. Extending the left leg all the way down the mat, bringing the right knee in towards the chest, squeezing it in. Taking a nice deep inhale here, and then exhale to draw that right leg all the way over to the left, extending the right arm, gazing towards the right fingers. Inhale to bring that right knee all the way back up. Extending the right leg all the way down the mat, drawing the left knee in towards the chest, pulling it all the way over towards the right, extending the left arm, gazing towards the left hand. Inhale to come all the way back to center, this time drawing both knees in towards your chest. Inhaling here and then exhaling to drop them all the way over to the right hand side. Keeping both shoulders glued to the mat as much as you can. Inhale, come all the way back up, and exhale, drop them over to the left. Inhale, come all the way back to center. Draw both knees in towards your chest, wrapping your arms around the shins, giving yourself a nice big hug. And then exhale to release the legs all the way down. Release the arms all the way down to the sides. Coming into our final resting pose. Allowing the body to come to a place of stillness, a place of silence. To absorb everything it's just done. give you the chance to thank your body for everything it's done for you today. To soak up this stillness and this peace that you've cultivated. And I will leave you here in silence for a couple of minutes. Noticing the breath go back to its normal state. Noticing how your body feels now compared to the start of the practice. How the breath feels, how the mind feels. And then slowly introducing some movement back into your fingers, back into your toes. You can lift the arms up overhead and give yourself a nice big stretch from fingers to toes. And then draw the knees in towards the chest. Slowly roll over onto the right hand side. Keeping the eyes closed, come all the way back up to a comfortable seat. Crossing the legs. Bringing the palms together in front of you, rubbing them together. And then placing them over the eyes. Slowly blinking the eyes open. Removing the hands from the face. Thank you so much for joining me today, guys. I hope you enjoyed this gentle-ish twisted flow, and I will see you next time. Assalamu alaikum.